episode of Life from Mars, your fave YouTube channel. I am Marissa. How are you guys doing today? I'm super excited because today I'm going to be making a video I have been thinking about making for a little while now. I'm going to be telling you guys all about my piercings. Yes, so for those of you guys who do know me, you probably know that I do have a fair amount of piercings, some that I don't even have anymore, but I have gotten a lot over the years, and so today I'm going to be telling you guys about them, about my experiences with them, about the pain levels, and pretty much the aftercare that I experienced so that you guys can know what to expect if you're trying to maybe get one of these piercings, because honestly, I'm really glad that I got them all, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Before I start, please make sure that if you are not already, please do subscribe to my channel so that you can see all of my content that I do produce. I make videos about all sorts of things, and I like to think that there's a little bit something for everybody, so please do click that subscribe button. I so appreciate it. Okay, so I am going to, I think, go in order of pain level as far as the different piercings that I have. I'm going to start on my ear. On this ear, I have 3 lobes, and I also have a little helix. On this ear, I have considerably more than that. I have 3 lobes, a helix. I have this one right here, which was the result of an industrial that I used to have, and I have my conch pierced as well on this ear. So I'm just gonna go through those first, and yeah, let's start with that. I got my lobes pierced for the first time when I was a little baby, so I'm not going to go into those, but my other 2 lobes I did get a little bit later. My second lobe, I did get that done with a gun, and I know that's really bad. I highly do not recommend to any of you guys, if you're thinking about getting a piercing, do not go to Claire's, and absolutely do not get it done with a gun. Please go to a reputable piercer. They would do a much better job. Your piercing will be much better off for it. But I did get my second lobes pierced with a piercing gun, and it was fine. I had just started high school, and I just really liked how they looked, so I just wanted a second lobe. And honestly, this is pretty standard for all the lobe piercings, but I mean, they're very low on the pain scale. I would consider myself to have a semi-decent pain tolerance. I think that I actually can handle pain pretty well. It's all relative, right? It only lasts a second, so it's just kind of like, it's really not that bad regardless. But these, I mean, it really is so minimal. I mean, if you're thinking about getting another lobe piercing, please don't let the pain be the thing that stops you. I got my 3rd lobe piercing done, actually, I think earlier this year. I actually have a friend who is apprenticing with this awesome piercer, and so she's actually done a lot of my piercings as she's been doing her apprenticeship and learning how to do all these different piercings, and she's done an awesome job. So she did my 3rd lobe, and those I did get done with a needle in a proper studio. I mean, obviously it is gonna sting a little bit, and you might experience some brief soreness, nothing crazy. For all of my piercings, the aftercare that I do use is just using saline solution. I buy the wound wash, stuff like that. It's basically just a saline spray, and I just use little Q-tips to sort of clean around my piercings, and so that's what I do for all my piercings. So my aftercare is the same for all of them. So next I'm going to go on to my helix. Now, I do have this done on both sides. You can see here that I do have the pearl in right now. I have also had this one for a fair amount of time, and I have to admit, even though I am a little ashamed, I just have to be honest with you guys, I also did get my helix done with a gun, which is, I know this is so bad and this can go so wrong. I got extremely lucky. I was still young. I did not know, my mom did not know that this was super problematic. Just so you guys know, if you ever pierce your cartilage with a gun, you can shatter your cartilage. The gun can get stuck. There's so many things that could go wrong. It's just not a good idea. It's just not. That being said, my helix really did not hurt hardly at all. I remember thinking it was gonna hurt a lot more, but it really did not hurt. And like I said, I did get it done on both sides, so I do have that on my left and my right. So for that one, I would probably rank the pain level maybe around a 2 out of 10, as to where a lobe piercing is probably maybe like a 1 or a 1.5 out of 10. So Definitely both of those piercings, super low pain level. I do remember bumping my helix a lot when I first got it. It's like any other piercing, you do want to avoid sleeping on it and things like that because that can cause problems. You just generally have to be kind of careful when it's first healing so that you don't catch it when you're brushing your hair or something like that, because that could potentially just hurt. They overall did heal really well, and obviously now, I mean, I don't feel it at all, and I can do whatever I want. It doesn't matter. Next, I'm going to be going on to a piercing that I actually do not have anymore, and that is my tragus. I'm gonna try to find a picture of when I did have my tragus. I'm pretty sure that I do have a picture somewhere on Facebook or something. My tragus was actually right here. It's this little piece of skin, this little piece of cartilage that juts out from your ear. I honestly loved that piercing. I seriously did. I loved it. And I got it done at a proper studio. You know, it was all good. The only reason I took it out, honestly, was that at the time I got a keloid. And for those of you guys who have ever had piercings, there's a good chance that you may have experienced a keloid before. But basically, it's just a collection of scar tissue, and they can get really big, and you know, they're kind of gross, and they're like a little gunky looking, these little piercing bumps. I just did not know how to properly, I guess, make it go away at the time. I have gotten keloids since, and my by far #1 remedy is tea tree oil. I use organic tea tree oil. You dab some of that right on there, and it will literally be gone in like 2 days. But at the time, I didn't know that, and so I was trying to do sea salt soaks, things like that, but it just was not working. I could not get this keloid to go away, so I just decided to take out the piercing, which I so regret, guys, because it was a little painful. The pain level for that one was probably maybe about a 4 out of 10. I did get this done when I was like 16. If I could handle this as a 16-year-old girl, whoever you are, you can probably also handle it. A lot of people do experience basically more this pressure kind of sensation rather than like a needle sort of pain, stabbing pain. And I would say that that's pretty accurate. I remember that it really did not hurt that much. I thought it was gonna hurt a little bit more, and I mean, just like any other piercing, it's over so fast that, I mean, it really doesn't even actually matter. Really, the most important thing is that you're gonna get the outcome. You're gonna get this awesome little jewel to show off. Okay, so the next piercing I'm going to be talking about is also one that I do not have anymore. Well, I do have the top hole, as you can see here, but that was my industrial piercing. I actually think I got it before my tragus piercing. I just really liked the way it looked. So an industrial is a pretty thick needle. It's usually done with a 14 gauge needle. That is on the thicker side of piercing needles. It did hurt a pretty considerable amount. I think the main reason for that is that you're kind of getting 2 piercings at once, just because you do need 2 holes, one in the top cartilage and then one on the bottom cartilage. So you really need to make sure you're prepared for the fact that you are gonna have to get stabbed twice. Definitely the second hole hurts more, just because after they pierce the first one, all the blood rushes to your ear. So when they put the needle through the second side, it does definitely hurt a lot more. For the pain level, I would probably maybe rank it about 5 out of 10. I do remember having trouble about the fact that the bottom hole was not healing as well as the top hole. I'm pretty sure that I also got a keloid on the bottom hole and that I would bump it sometimes. And I think that that's why the bottom part of the bar was not healing as well. So ultimately, I decided to take out the industrial, but the top hole had healed really well, so I didn't want to just let that go to waste. I mean, I already had a hole there, might as well keep the piercing. For a really long time, I had sort of this curved barbell in there. I did take it out a little while ago, and I want to get another piece of permanent jewelry for it, but I don't even always wear it, to be completely honest. Yeah, I do have this little hanging arrow in here right now, and I do sometimes do this, but I just have so many piercings on this ear that I don't know, I kind of feel like I just need to get more minimalized jewelry, and then maybe I'll wear all the piercings all the time, but it is a little bit much, you know? Okay, finally, I'm going to go to my most painful piercing that I have on my ear, my conch piercing. I honestly never really particularly wanted my conch pierced. It just sort of happened. Like I said, my piercer, she's really awesome, and she's done a lot of my piercings, and she was apprenticing, so a lot of the times I would get these piercings for free. And so, you know, when you're offered a free piercing, you're much more likely to get it than if you're gonna have to pay for it yourself, you know? So I was going in one day to get my nose piercing changed out into a hoop, and she told me, hey, do you want me to do your conch? Like, I can do your conch for free. And I thought, you know, why not? I heard that it didn't hurt too much. I did look it up, and most people said that the conch really did not hurt. And I've still heard that from multiple people, but I just guessed that my ear is probably just a little bit weird. So for me, it was honestly super painful. By far the most painful piercing I've ever gotten. It's also the most recent one that I've gotten, and it has healed really, really well. You guys can see it's almost completely healed now, and I can move it around without any problems. It's totally good now, and I'm very glad that I did get it because I like the way it looks. But I kind of have a little bit of a horror story. When she was doing it, my ear, I guess, was just placed in a really weird way in that she was having trouble getting the needle to go through. So it was kind of like she did it in layers. She kind of put it through and then pushed it more and then pushed it more. I could feel every single part of it breaking, as opposed to it just being one smooth stab, how it usually is. It was just kind of this dragged out pain, and it honestly really hurt. Afterwards, I was just like, oh my god, that hurt a lot, and I did not expect that. I mean, it was throbbing honestly at first, and it was really, really, really stinging. It honestly even gave me kind of a headache, and not gonna lie, for the next couple of days, my ear just felt kind of weird because it was just really sore in that area, and I don't even know how to describe the feeling of it, but it just felt super strange to have that part of my ear feel sore. But after a couple of days, I would say maybe like on the third day after I got my piercing, that pain completely went away, and since then it really has been smooth sailing. That being said, I personally would probably rank my conch piercing about a 7 out of 10. Like I said, it's the most painful piercing I've ever gotten, and I have gotten a fair amount of piercings, and I've also experienced a fair amount of pain, so I would think that I have a pretty high pain tolerance, but that one really hurt, guys. I would still recommend doing it. It very well could be very easy for you. I really definitely love the way it looks, and I'm super happy that I did it, but it was just a little bit more painful for me, you know, like I really had to earn that one. Alright, so those are all of the piercings that I have on my ear. I do have 2 other piercings besides my ears. I do have my nose pierced, as you guys can see. I have my little nose ring, and then I also have my belly button pierced. So I kind of have a little bit of a crazy story about my nose. I've technically actually gotten my nose pierced twice. So I'm just gonna start with my belly button, just so you guys can hear that story instead. So I got my belly button pierced actually on my birthday just about 2 months ago. So it's actually still healing. You know, I remember people telling me that it doesn't hurt at all. I mean, it definitely does hurt, right? Of course it hurts, but it's just skin. It's not cartilage like you have on your ear, so it really doesn't hurt as much. It's not as an intense pressure. Honestly, it sounds kind of ridiculous, but the little clamps that they put on just to grab the skin before they pierced it probably hurt more than the actual piercing itself, which is kind of funny, but yeah, that's just kind of the way it worked out. But it really was not too bad. I would probably rank my belly button piercing maybe about, I guess maybe about a 3.5 out of 10. Really nothing too crazy. It obviously hurts. You're getting stabbed with the needle, but it's really not that bad. It goes away pretty quickly. It was obviously a little bit sore at first, which is to be expected with any piercing. There was a little bit of swelling, things like that. I will say one big note that I have with my belly button piercing, and something that I didn't necessarily think about before I got it, was that you really, really have to be careful with the kind of clothing that you're wearing. By that, I mean especially pants or skirts, whatever, any sort of bottom, I would have to line it up so that it was either above, completely above the piercing, or completely below the piercing, because basically what would end up happening to me is it would be really close to the piercing, and I would get up and my skirt or my shorts or whatever would be dragged down, and it would yank on the piercing, and that was honestly really painful. And it's just kind of like, God, what the heck, you know, like it definitely hurts. So I would advise you that if you are planning on getting your belly button pierced, just be aware of that and just don't make the problem so that you don't even have to worry about that. Also, a big thing that I would warn you about as far as belly button piercings is to try to avoid fishnet. I wore fishnets again for the first time since getting my belly button pierced the other day, and I made sure that that line was way below my belly button. My piercer actually told me a story when I was getting my belly button pierced of the fact that she had to take out her belly button piercing because she got hers caught on some fishnets, and it hurt so bad when it got pulled that she just had to take it out. So, a word from the wise, do not wear fishnets after you get your belly button pierced. At least not right after. Just wait until it's healed a little bit. Okay guys, last but not least, I'm going to be telling you guys about my nose piercing. Okay, so let me tell you about this. So I actually technically got my nose pierced twice. The first time was when I was still living in New York City. I used to live in Brooklyn. I lived there for 2 years. And while I was there, I decided to get my nose pierced. And I'd wanted to get my nose pierced for a really long time, but as some of you guys may know, New York is notoriously expensive for pretty much everything, and that includes piercings, tattoos, things like that. And that's not to say that you can't find the occasional good deal and that there's not shops that are a little bit more well priced that are not still really good, but I guess I just didn't really know exactly where I should be going. So I went to this random little shop that was a 4-minute walk from my apartment in Brooklyn, and I just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna get it done here. It'll probably be cheaper than if I get it done in the city. So that turned out to be, I think, a mistake. I went in and immediately, like, I was with some friends, we all were getting piercings done, and the piercer was very heavily pregnant. I mean, she must have been at least like 7.5, maybe 8 months pregnant, maybe more. So she was kind of moving a little bit weird, and I was already kind of thinking like, should you really be doing piercings right now? But obviously I was just like, you know, I trust, no judgment. I'm sure you're gonna do a good job. Like, I trust that you know what you're doing and that you can judge if you're good or not, whatever. So I get my piercing done, and guys, it was a horror story. So she puts the needle through, and I don't know why, but it was super, super painful to the point where I kind of passed out. I don't really remember what happened, but apparently I just kind of blacked out, shook a little, and then woke up. Almost had a mini seizure, and that has never, ever, ever happened to me before, and also has never happened to me since. So I really don't know why that happened, but it was crazy. I had a really bad reaction to that piercing. And so of course, like, I opened my eyes and I'm just like, oh my God. And my friends are like, what the f? Like, girl, you okay? And I had to sit there for a second, kind of regain my composure. It was just crazy. And just to top it all off, the jewelry that she put in my nose was probably the worst. The jewelry that she put in my nose, she for sure completely screwed me over as far as the healing process was concerned. She used this little corkscrew stud, and basically the problem with it was that it would always turn and come out of my nose. So it was like you could see the little stud on top, and then you could also see the other part of the wire sticking out of my nose. It was so ridiculous, and I would always keep having to push it back, and I would always have to touch it because it was always getting all messed up. This was a problem for a while, and it was kind of annoying, but the piercing was still healing okay. It wasn't that bad, and at that point I was like, there's no way I'm taking this out. I literally went through hell to get this. There's absolutely no way that I'm gonna ever take this out. Well, that was until one day some shit went very, very wrong. I had just gotten out of the shower and I was drying my hair, whatever, and somehow my nose piercing got caught on a towel. And not the stud, but the bottom part. The bottom part of the corkscrew that, you know, would stick out of my nose. It was sticking out of my nose because it was problematic, and the towel got stuck on it. And I'm sorry to tell you this, but the piercing got yanked into my nose. It was probably one of the most terrifying moments of my life. I was literally sitting in front of the mirror, like in the nude, looking at my face in terror because the stud was literally stuck inside my nose. Like, it had been pulled inside the hole. Guys, it was horrible. I was crying, freaking out. I did not know what I should do. I did not know if I should go and tell the piercer down the street to help me. And basically, I just decided I just have to push it back out. So I went through this whole ordeal, and finally, after a while of really messing with it, got it to go back and punch back out. But after that, guys, it was never the same. It did not want to heal properly. I got a keloid. It was honestly becoming a lot more pain than it was worth. So I just decided to just take it out. I just went back to the piercing place and I just told them, just take it out. Just take it out. I'm done. I don't want it anymore. Luckily, things went in my favor later. I was honestly so sad because I never even got to upgrade it to a hoop, which is what I actually really wanted, and it just never healed properly, so it's just like this lost cause. But a couple of years passed and I was here, and my piercer, the apprentice, she told me I needed to do some nose piercings, wants a free nose piercing, and so I volunteered right away. And guys, that experience was literally 1,000% different and way better than my first nose piercing experience, which really just makes me feel like it is 100% determined on your piercer as far as how much it's gonna hurt, how well it's gonna heal, all of those things. You want to make sure that you're going to somebody that's gonna be using really good technique, that's gonna put in proper jewelry, and that is going to set you up for success as much as physically possible so that you can have a good, positive, pain-free experience, and you can also have this awesome piercing after. So that being said, she did my nose piercing again, and guys, literally, I would probably rank the pain like maybe a 2 out of 10. It did not hurt at all. It was so painless. I remember I was sitting there and I was just like, I literally, like, my mouth actually fell open after she did the piercing because I was so shocked at how easy it was and how much it did not hurt at all. And she did a perfect job. The piercing healed great. I got to go ahead and switch it out to my hoop finally. So now I'm really happy with my nose piercing. And I did get a little keloid on it, which, like I said, is normal. But I literally put tea tree oil on it and it was gone. I'm not joking. After 1 use. So I highly recommend, if you guys do have keloids or little piercing bumps, just try to use some organic tea tree oil. Put that directly on there, and I promise you're gonna see some really crazy fast results. So yeah, that is a tour of all of my piercings. I really hope you guys liked this video. I hope that this helped some of you. Maybe you were considering getting one of these piercings, so now you kind of know what to expect, and maybe this opened your eyes to another piercing that you might want to try that you maybe didn't think about before. I'm really happy that I got all of my piercings, and it's kind of funny. Sometimes people ask me if I like pain, but I obviously do not like pain, and most of my piercings were really not that painful. I really just like it for aesthetic purposes. I think it's a form of self-expression, and honestly guys, the cool thing about a piercing is that you really don't have to commit. You could always take it out at any point in your life. It's not permanent, and I really just think it's a cool way to express yourself. And yeah, I don't know, I really like piercings. But I hope you guys liked this video. Make sure that you do subscribe to my channel so that you can keep updated on all of the different content that I have coming at you. I have new videos coming out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so that is 3 new videos every single week for you guys to laugh at and enjoy and learn from. So you're welcome. Make sure you subscribe. Please like this video if you did like it, and comment below letting me know your piercing experience. What was your most painful piercing that you've ever gotten? Is there another piercing that you think I should try to get? I don't really know if I will, but you can always suggest it. What did you guys think? If you've ever gotten one of these piercings, what was your experience like? Do you have anything else that you want to add to anything that I've said? Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and please remember, do not use piercing guns, and always go to a reputable, good piercer if you're gonna get a piercing done. So have fun getting a piercing. If you do, happy healing, and have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye guys, see you next time.